Welcome back to Dragonfall. Turns out we planted a bomb. No big surprise there. I feel bad for Jana. I hope nothing bad comes of it. But as we know, as everyone ought to know, usually when you get tied in with organized crime, they don't exactly let you leave. They always give you something to be tied to them so that you can't completely get away. Where did we meet him before? I don't remember. Was it in here? The marking is... What? It's either here or the coffee shop, right? I just remembered after seeing my armor that I wanted to check out why the stats seem to be wrong on it. Hopefully I'll remember to look at that when we finish this. I guess I could look at it, well, if it was going to be fixed, it ought to be fixed now, right? Armor 5, Charisma 8, which is only a +2. So something's fucked up. That just doesn't look like him. Why do they not put a hat on him? Or glasses, or anything? He's also got a tie on and a different colored shirt, and, like, it doesn't look like him at all. Like, I know that they probably wanted this image to be more like this. They could put more detail into this more easily. It only takes, you know, one artist to do this. Whereas, like, remodeling new 3D things to put on a model is probably arguably harder. I don't know, now that I think about it. These are not exactly high poly models, so... Anyway. Alice, welcome back and my congratulations on a job well done. If you wanted Alishur dead, you could have just said so. I'd have taken the job either way. He nods thoughtfully. Good to know, but the purpose of this test is to gauge your adaptability. We need to know that you'll be willing to do what we tell you to, regardless of your personal feelings on the matter. And we need to know that you'll roll with the punches if circumstances change mid-run. I mean, that's Shadowrunners in a nutshell, so... I don't know who you think you're hiring. Many of your colleagues in the Shadow community have overinflated egos. That's a fair point. They let their personal feelings interfere with their work. My organization needs to know that you will see tasks My organization needs to know that you will see tasks that we assign you through, no matter what. That's terrible phrasing, but... Say nothing. The true purpose of the run that you just went on was to test your willingness to adapt to change. You're still being tested, by the way. If you work for my organization, you may be asked to do things that you find morally troubling. Sometimes it may even appear that we are lying to you. I mean, you are. But you can take comfort in knowing that everything we request of you is ultimately for the greater good. Yeah, bullshit. And what is this greater good? Define it for me. You can't see the big picture. I can't either. I am, again, just a mouthpiece. The only ones who know my organization's ultimate ends are its ruling council, and they aren't in the practice of sharing information with their hirelings. but know that they are some of the most intelligent men on this planet, and they place a high priority on social order and stability. And those are good things by anyone's standards. Social order and stability is really, I mean, it's extraordinarily vague. That you could say that totalitarianism puts a very high priority on social order and stability. But here we are. So no. So he stares you in the eye. What do you think of all that? I mean, I'm of two minds about this. I don't know anything about the group. I don't like being manipulated. But there's some very valid points about, do you ultimately ever know what the reasons or long-term effects of your actions are, especially if you're a Shadowrunner. You're usually doing things that are of at least questionable legality. Killing people is not above you. I feel like it's trying to paint this for good reasons or bad reasons. It's trying to paint this as extra dirty by being like, hey, remember how we killed a woman and child? But I don't know. Like, in the grand scheme of Shadowrunning, how dirty is that? If you're hustling drugs, if you're doing assassinations that will then have, echoing consequences, if there's, people caught in crossfire or explosions that, whatever you're doing, there's going to be side effects, and some of them are going to be bad. Do I agree with it? No. I'd like to avoid taking jobs where I kill theoretically innocent people, but I don't think anyone's hands are clean. I don't like taking jobs where I don't know who I'm killing. At least when I take a random job that I am trying to do as stealthily as possible, or maybe if I'm only planning to kill one person, I at least get to have the free will to choose whether to fight back and to at least have the knowledge that it's me pulling the trigger rather than setting somebody else up to die remotely. That feels much dirtier. But ultimately, how different is it in the grand morality or even in the just technicality of it? Both in this game and the last, we've heard plenty of other stories of women and children being abused, killed, whatever. It's not a pleasant world. And the Shadowrunners are not good guys, but I don't know. Are they bad? What is the... It gets down to like economic basics of, if you don't fulfill a job, is there somebody else who will? And the answer is probably yes. There's always probably going to be somebody dirtier than you. Now, there's plenty of, that's not to say to discount just because you didn't do it doesn't mean your hands are clean. Like, there's certainly something to be said for, I refuse to do that on principle, even if I know somebody else will do it. But I don't know, like, this is just, it's such a conundrum. It's such an indictment of the sort of whole structure of Shadowrunning and the blindness of it and how more often than not, Shadowrunners are merely tools to other people's ends. The wealthy, the powerful, the people who have the means to hire them. You know, Shadowrunner versus Shadowrunner these are the proxy wars of this era, rather than, you know, whether it's corporate espionage or assassinations or you know, political upheaval. You know, mostly it doesn't get down to like full-scale wars in the Shadowrun universe, I don't think. But like, it's a dirty world. What responsibility, if you are the hammer, what responsibility do you have to make sure you're only hitting nails? This metaphor is getting more tortured. Anyway. I don't really like any of these responses. The first one says, I don't see how this is any different. No, I do see how this is different. You deliberately kept me in the dark, and you're being a smug dick about it. Obviously, that's the writing at work trying to make you feel that way. Because ultimately, how different is it than some of the other jobs we've taken? Like, a lot of the other jobs we've taken in this game thus far are either for our own reasons or for people who we believe are on the right side of things, you know, people trying to help the downtrodden and so on and so forth. But, like, there's still death. The second one I don't like because I don't really want to say I can overlook it. I can consider overlooking it, but I'd like to know. I'd like to weigh the scales myself. The third one seems like it just shut down completely, but maybe he's like, oh, we don't want you to be mindless, is why we hired you, so on and so forth. The fourth one definitely feels like a kick out. Can I reject his offers in future? I don't know. These are side missions. These are optional missions, so I have to assume that I can probably gather enough payment without his jobs. But that's a little too metagamey. More metagamey than I want it to be. This one feels very like true neutral to neutral evil. This one's more like chaotic neutral to true neutral. So I'm going to go for that one. After a brief pause, he nods, then reaches forward and places the cred stick in your hand. Congratulations, you have passed your audition. Welcome to the payroll. So what happens now? Now we part ways. Don't worry, I'll call you when your services are needed. He taps a neatly trimmed fingernail against the earpiece of his comlink. When I contact you with a new task, the choice of whether to take it or leave it will be yours. Well, that's reassuring. Now, whether there's ramifications for not taking it, I don't know. If you take it, return here and I'll pay you a fair sum for your services. If you leave it, well, there are some in my organization who will be quite unhappy. Well, that's not really a choice then, is it? I can't promise you that I'll always be able to accept every job that you offer me. Understandable, but I would strongly advise compliance whenever possible. There is always some margin for extenuating circumstances. We are nothing if not understanding, but abusing that margin would be unwise. Durer glances at his PDA, a high-end model etched with platinum. And with that, I'm afraid I must bid you good day. Go now. I'll be in touch. Don't like that. It is interesting. It's an interesting addition. It really gets to the heart of the problem with the universe. But anyway. She looks up from her calm, idly blowing a gum bubble and quickly popping it. Hello again, I hear you've been busy. Gossip travels fast, doesn't it? It's not gossip, it's work. Survival, really. What makes it that you need to survive working like this? What a terrible phrase. Well, you know, Altog always says, if you do not spy, how will you know who's boss? She waves her hand as though to excuse her poor memory. Or something like that. I'm just a kid, what do I know? These both feel too judgy. She also doesn't seem that young. She's at least in her teens, right? Intel is important, but that should be a lesson for when you're older, don't you think? Kami puffs up indignantly, and you realize how young she must really be. She couldn't be out of her teens yet. Well, yeah. And what does that mean? If you're really gathering intel, you need some street smarts. You're still wet behind the ears. You'd be surprised what I know, but you don't seem like the perceptive type, so that's to be expected. She practically hisses her response, her eyes suddenly narrowed and venomous. She looks down and exhales, and the clouds leave her bright face. Listen, I have better things to do right now than get ticked. We'll chat later, okay? Alright. Let's see. Got that drone fixed yet? I do. Just finished it before you arrived. There's a complication though. What is it? This drone's got a custom AOS stack on it. Someone wrote code that sits on the bootloader and configures the drone only to accept commands from a specific user. The thing works like a computer virus. There's no way I can rip it out unless I got another brain from this model of drone. Before you ask, yes, I looked into it. Problem is, this is a stolen corp drone, a discontinued model of a stolen corp drone. There are no parts for this thing on the market around here, so unless you know who locked this thing up so tightly, you're not going to get more use out of it than a doorstop. Drek, well, I'll ask around for its owner. Thanks. Alright. We'll wander around a little bit more, but I want to take a look at the gear real quick, just to check one last time that did I misread something? +2 charisma. So it is correct. What was I mistaking last time? Did I just think it was a different value? Was the armor value wrong? So I guess the number only affects the chance to hit. It doesn't affect any of the unlocks or anything, because obviously then it would break every time you removed it. Okay. Well, I'm gonna spend the karma to... I'm gonna spend that karma later. Okay. What do we have here? Level ups. Shotgun ability that sets targets on fire and strips 1 armor. Ongoing damage, cost 1 AP. That sounds pretty sweet. Yeah, why not? Even though I haven't taken her out to try any of the others. Let's see. Battle hardened, gain armor. Innate +1 armor. That seems pretty handy. He is a bit of a squish. So... Augment spell Nerve Bolt. You're not going to tell me what that is. Or Nerve Spear. Oh, wait. I know how to read. This interface, not great. Basic Nerve Bolt now flushes enemies from cover when they are hit. Huh. I hope to keep him out of combat anyway, so let's go with Nerve Spear. Yeah, I don't care about your pistol abilities. That's not what I want you for. Let's see. ESP control boosted by 1. Decking is increased by 1. His decking is already 4, isn't it? I don't even know what that means. Nope, nope, nope. I don't know what you're walking over there for. Decker. Matrix entities Deckers can summon. Yeah, I don't really like the summonable stuff. That's what I thought that was. I just wanted to check. I don't really like those. I try not to use them, so we'll go with decking boost. Alright. That's that dealt with. I guess we'll talk to the party next time or something. I don't know. What's our next thing to do? I don't know. We don't have an obvious... We should probably talk to... What's his nugget? I bet he knows something about this drone. Anyway. Alright, I'll see you guys for that next time.